Hey guys, welcome to Not So Popular Opinion. Today, we'll be checking out a clip from TikTok of a fat activist who didn't enjoy her time at Universal Studios.
Okay, I'm going to keep this rant as short as I possibly can. I know this video isn't about tattooing, but I had a horrible experience at the Universal amusement park in Florida, and I just had to share what happened. To give you a little vulnerability moment, I don't show my full body on camera a lot because she thick.
Alright, we need to stop here real quick. I don't know if the word needs to be banned or someone needs to stop overusing it or what, but we got to do something about thick. I'm sorry, we got to do something about thick. Lady, you ain't thick. And most people that use thick aren't thick either. You're fat.
And like most people, I have body issues, but like on Universal, they say that you will fit their ride if your waist is smaller than 44 inches. My waist is 42, but these dummy thick thighs aren't. And guess what made it so that I couldn't fit in those rides? These hips and these boobs. How dare you, Universal?
How dare Universal? How dare Universal? You just said that your waist was 42 inches and your hips and your ass stretch out at least 10 more inches past that. You knew damn well what they meant and you knew you wasn't gonna fit, but instead delusion set in and somehow you believed that because your waist was only 2 inches smaller than the maximum, which is already ridiculous. But you thought somehow you was gonna squeeze the rest of your body in there when your waist barely fits. How does that make any sense? How could any grown adult be that delusional? Fat activist or not, how could you possibly be that delusional and then blame Universal?
So I waited in line for almost an hour for the first Harry Potter line, and I get up to the top of the line, and the guy picks me out of a line and says, "Have you ridden this before?" I was like, "No." He's like, "Well, you got to go try the test seat," which tells me that he has had training on how to be fatphobic and how to pick someone out of a crowd to tell them that they're not going to fit on this ride.
He has not had training on how to be fatphobic because there's no such training on how to be fatphobic because y'all love to throw fatphobic around. What he was trained to do is spot individuals who clearly wouldn't fit the ride. Anyone with a brain and some eyes would have spotted you and be like, you know what? She ain't gonna fit. She is not gonna fit. Number one, most rides at theme parks or amusement parks have signs right at the front of them. They tell you everything you need to know. Hell, I'm not even pregnant, but each time I go to a ride, I see that sign. I'm like, okay, if I was pregnant, I wouldn't ride it. And I'm a dude. I check all the signs just to make sure. I want to know exactly what I'm getting into. You knew from the 42-inch waist you have that your big ass wasn't going to fit on that ride. But you went all the way up there, and I know those lines at Universal alone because hell, I waited in one for like 2 hours to ride something. It was worth it, but it was a long ass line. There's no way, being your size, that I would have wasted that much time. I would have went and got a butterbeer or something, but I definitely wouldn't have waited in that line thinking somehow delusion was gonna get me through. That was on you. That man was not fatphobic. He was doing his job. Simply put, he is looking out for you. There's a reason why there's a test seat. So they can make sure that you are secure before they put you on the real thing and put you in any harm's way.
I fit the test seat barely, get to the ride, don't fit, they take me off, try the test seat again, and I barely fit, and then they bring me back to the ride, and I barely fit because I just managed to like move my butt in like the right way, I guess. I get off the ride, I am sobbing because this is incredibly humiliating. I have paid a lot of money to be at this place, and now I feel absolutely horrible about myself.
But all that embarrassment and wasted money is your fault. You knew you weren't gonna fit. you knew you weren't going to fit. Why try to barely fit into a ride that is already dangerous and scary in most cases? Why would you want to squeeze into something that could possibly delete you if something goes wrong? That's like, okay, I've been skydiving. If they told me before we went up in that plane, man, you barely fit in that parachute barely fits you, ain't no way I would have gotten that plane. Ain't no way I would have left that building, walked over to that plane and got in it and went up in the sky and jumped out of that plane, and then somehow blamed the skydiving company if the buckles would have came loose, because I barely fit it. There's no way you could have got me on that roller coaster if I barely fit it. And I wouldn't blame the theme park. I would look in the mirror and be like, I'm too damn big. But I'm a rational guy. You're clearly not a rational person.
And so I decided to try and shake it off. Maybe this is a one-time thing. We wait in line for another hour and a half for the other Harry Potter ride, the like Hagrid's one. And I don't even get to go on that one because I didn't fit the test seat. They didn't put me on the actual ride. I did not fit, like, at all. My husband offered graciously to stay behind with me, but I was like, no, we didn't stay for an hour and a half in line for you to not be able to ride this ride. So I sent him on the ride, and they put me in this like room of shame where I just like sat by myself because, oh, by the way, they make you check all of your stuff, which I get, but they make you check all of your stuff. So I don't even have my phone on me. So I'm like sitting, feeling horrible about myself in this room. It was just humiliating.
Once again, you caused that. You barely fit on the last one. Why? Why would you go to another one and risk it again? Your husband did the right thing. I would have hopped my ass on that ride and waved at you from your so-called room of shame. I stood in that line for an hour and a half. I'm getting on that ride. I'll see you when I get off. Another thing is, clearly you are larger than your husband, which I'm not a big believer in the, woman being bigger than her man. But if that's what he likes, more power to him, I guess. But still, he fit the ride. You didn't. I'm guessing on that first ride, he didn't have this issue of barely fitting. Why would you waste an hour and a half trying to get on another ride? That should have been your wake-up call. That you wasted a lot of money getting to Universal. You can enjoy the shops, you can enjoy the shows, but you are not getting on any other rides. All this is on you. You let your delusion cloud your judgment because the world is fatphobic, and somehow I'm just gonna change it by having multicolored hair and a bad attitude. That ain't how it works.
So now I'm crying again because I'm supposed to be at this place that I'm super excited about. I'm at Harry Potter land and it's magical and wonderful. And I now don't feel magical and wonderful. And I, for the rest of the day, had to try test seats. I barely fit the Hulk ride, so I thankfully got to ride that twice. But like, I stood in line for another hour for the Rockin' Roller Coaster because I fit the test seat. Yeah, guess what? They put me on 4 different rides. 4 different, things to try and get me to fit, and I didn't. So Universal, do better. And if you're more than a size 22 and if your hips are more than 44 inches, don't bother. I'm absolutely disgusted.
I'm not trying to be funny. Did she say she's absolutely disgusting or disgusted? I'm just curious. If you have a waist or hips bigger than 44 inches, going to an amusement park is the least of your damn worries. Or you know what, better yet, go to that amusement park in that heat and walk your big ass around, because you ain't getting on them rides. You're going to ruin your family's time at that amusement park by complaining and whining about the reality that you've made for yourself. Universal doesn't need to do better. How is it that thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people have been to Universal Studios, been able to enjoy the rides, enjoy their time there, be happy when they leave. But you aren't happy because you couldn't fit the rides, because you eat too much, and somehow that's their problem. 1 out of 100,000. But they're supposed to adjust everything at that theme park. They're supposed to make the rides bigger for you. When everybody else fits, though. Everybody else fits comfortably, and most importantly, safely. Do you realize that if they adjust every seat on that ride to fit someone your size, that is putting everyone else's safety at risk? How ridiculous is that? Things are set for safety standards for a reason, because their main focus is making sure you enjoy the rides safely. If you don't get to ride because you're too big, that's something you can fix. Lose some weight and enjoy the rides next time. You got time. Universal ain't going nowhere. Guess what? Take a year. Go on a diet, get a fitness regimen, then you'll have a real good time. But expecting a theme park to change all of their rides to fit you because you're too big, you're much bigger than normal, it's crazy. And you're mad at someone, at amusement park workers, saving your life. Do you not realize that they put your life in jeopardy by putting you on that first one? I'm sorry. There's no way if I saw a woman or man that barely fit the test seat, I'm putting them on that ride. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not risking your life or my job over this. I walk away before I strap you in and close it and get a thumbs up to that operator, tell them to push that thing up there. I believe, I don't want to quote this story or whatever, but I do believe that a young man lost his life because of that. They put him on the ride, they barely could close it, and he ended up slipping underneath because it didn't lock in place, because he was too big for the mechanism to securely lock in place. So it just came open and he fell. Is that what you want? Is that what you want? To where you are so large that the mechanism cannot lock properly, so you're deleted. Would that be worth it then? The fact that you spent all that money to get in there and was not able to ride the rides should be a huge wake-up call. That not everybody else is the problem, not Universal is the problem, you're the problem. Your weight is the problem. Now, she deactivated her comments, and I believe that when people do that, they know they're in the wrong, and they're just trying to get their bull crap out there and check for those hearts, because some simps or some idiots are going to agree with them. But I love to hear what you think about this. I think the people at the theme park are heroes, all right, for saving this lady's life, because I wouldn't have put her up there either. If you would have put her up there, hey, let me know I'm wrong, I guess. If you agree, disagree, let's talk about this. All right. As always, thank you for liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. I'll see you in the next one. I'm out.